Yo. Hello, my friends. Looks like this time we will handle to be on time. I mean, it's me that's handled to be on time, actually, for the first time in a while, I think. But yeah. JRS says Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. Arguable, but it's doing better, yeah. Hello, the biggest altcoin bull. Yeah, that's me, indeed. The biggest altcoin bull. But yeah, we'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about ETH, we'll talk about Bitcoin Cash. Because that seems like everyone that has that seems like the thing that everyone is interested in. So we'll talk about all of that. And yeah, we'll see what else we can come up with. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you too. Good evening. Before we start the show, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring it. They've been very cool to work with. We've been making them, or like working with them on improvements on the exchange. Mostly them. We just give stupid advice that is listened to from time to time. So it's been cool seeing that from the inside rather than from the outside for once. It's fun. Don, are you an October enjoyer believer? No, I don't care about seasonalities too much. If it fits my bias and someone mentions it, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, cool. That makes sense. But I don't really care. I really don't care. Now, could we go up in October? Maybe. But the whole seasonality thing, I couldn't care less. And the monthly is kind of setting up shitty, right? Like, if we don't close above 29K this month, I mean, how, like, the October has to battle through resistance at that point. So, not really on Team October, whatever that means. So, yeah. So, the monthly, not really helpful. The weekly time frame, a little bit more so. We've been kind of battling with this weekly resistance for a while now. And some of you, like, something that I'm seeing here is actually, like, I'm finally seeing, like, good signs for the first time in a while. Sorry about that. I need to actually remove all of that on this computer. It's my streaming computer and it still has some shit on it. Anyway, for the first time in a while, we're seeing this kind of pattern that just needs to hold for a little bit. But I'm not hating for now. That said, we're battling with resistance. Haven't been able to get through. The S&P has been kind of weak. So not too good, right? Just all in all, not too good. Today started out as a good day, ended up a bad day, as you'll see in the daily in a sec. But yeah, right now, battling resistance. I think that's the most important one. If we get through here, I think momentum's going to pick up again and then we can push higher. But unless that happens, you're going to have to assume that it's going to go lower. Just based on the fact that we are at resistance. Now, I would love to be in Team Bull. Like I said, I'm seeing this kind of like, I like these when you have a nuke and then you make a low and then you make a higher low, like you grind into it both times. That's kind of what we're setting up here. But obviously, if this candle just goes like this, that's ruined. So still needs a little bit, and it's not really bullish right now. If anything, technicals are quite bearish because think about it, this support's been tested too many times. Yeah, bunch of people trying to troll me with the audio again. The good part is, like, you've just ruined it for everyone because I'm just going to ignore every single audio comment and then I'm just going to be like, maybe I'll be inaudible at some point, but it's on you guys. I'll just ignore every single comment in that regard. You've managed to break me. Don, when 20K? I don't know if we're gonna get 20K or not. So I cannot say when 20K. But if you start losing this area at 25, excuse me, then I think we could go towards 29K. But yeah, the daily time frame is a little bit more interesting. That's where all the action happened today. You can see in the 4 hour or in the 1 hour, it's been a little bit of a tumultuous day. We had good upside into full-blown nuke, and now we're kind of hanging out low. Not the greatest, but is what it is, right? The daily also doesn't look that good. That said, this here is support. We had a false breakdown. We rallied all the way to resistance. So if you're going to be bullish somewhere in this range, right? Like as long as you don't want to be betting on a range breakdown, between where we are right now and the range low here would be optimal entry, right? As in you try to get in here, you kind of invalidate it down here. If you want to be bullish, that's not the worst kind of setup. So that's kind of what I like. Like if I wanted to be bullish, this is what I would be looking for. I don't want to be bullish. I just wanna chill. So yeah, that's why I'm currently not holding any Bitcoin, not doing anything. But looking at the weekly honestly makes my fingers itch. I get the itchy feeling. The only thing holding me back right now, like usually I would actually buy this thing. The only thing holding me back is the S&P because that kind of looks sad. And it's not really getting better. It's kind of where we had like a move up today, right? And it was not supported by the S&P at all. As in the S&P went down, Bitcoin went up, and then what happens in these market conditions usually is a full retrace, and that's what happened. So yeah, everything's red besides Bitcoin Cash, which is nice. Love to hear Don taking deep breaths. Yeah, I can put the microphone a little bit further away. And then I'm going to get some comments about being too quiet again. Closed Bitcoin Cash long, Don? No, I didn't. I'm just chilling. We'll talk about it in a sec. Give me some time. Why is everyone interested in Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin Cash is trash. But yeah, it is the only trade that I have on right now. But it's not big, so calm your horses. It's not big. So yeah, ETH, same as Bitcoin. Actually, quite nice rejection from resistance. That's a rough one. Someone messaged me today. I was like, when it was trading up here, I was like, your bearish ETH comments were appreciated. And I'm like, dude, I've been shit talking ETH literally for months and months now, and it's not even up today. It's a little bit of an odd one, but that's how Twitter works. Huh? But yeah, ETH, not that great, as you can see in this schematic. When price goes up and makes higher lows and higher highs, that's good. And when it goes down and it makes the opposite, that's bad. And we had good price action here, and we have bad price action here. Now, whether that's going to stay around or not, who the fuck knows? But that's the simple kind of way to look at this thing. It's in a downtrend. And you can buy downtrends, but you never know when they're going to end, especially in crypto. So, got to be careful with this one. If it starts making higher highs, I'm down. I'll be very happy to buy ETH. Until then, less so. ETH USD also not the greatest shot. Like, it's just walking down, which not that great. Excuse me for being so. Like, I'm actually tired. I was climbing today, and I for some reason, like I'm weak, and it takes a lot out of me. So yeah. But I've been getting good sleep. It's great. I bought this like mattress cover thing, 8 Sleep. I don't know if you guys know it, which kind of pumps water through the mattress cover, whatever. and it cools you down at night. And been having that for a week, and I'm actually loving it. It's quite nice. The first night I was fucking freezing to death because for some reason the factory settings make it so that you just get cold water up your butt. but once I fixed that, it's actually really nice. Isn't that cover like 8K? No, it's like 3,000 euros, which is a little bit more in dollars. You listened to CryptoDog and fell for it? Yeah, I did. He promoted it and I was like, what's the worst that can happen? And so far, so good. Stream sponsored by 8 Sleep? No, it's actually not. I paid for the mattress cover. Not an influencer like that. Duck sleeps in the pond, fully committed to the bit. Which bit? I don't understand what you're talking about. There's no bit. But yes, Duck sleeps on water now. So but it's been good. I like it. The only thing that I don't like, and sorry to go off topic like this, I know no one gives a fuck, but whatever, is that like for some reason like all the bedroom appliances in today's day and age, right, have fucking lights on them. Like how stupid is that? Like I want to sleep in my bedroom. Like why do you put a big fat light on a charger? Why do you put a big fat light on like that machine that makes my bed cold? Because I mean it's literally made so I can sleep, but why do you make a big light on it? I literally don't understand. It's everything that you put in the bedroom has a fucking light on it nowadays. It's so stupid. I don't get it. Anyway, it's my rant of the day. But yeah, ETH kind of shit. Don't like it. ETH BTC, don't like it. That drives me crazy to cover them up with tape. Yeah, it's just so dumb. Like it's just no one wants to sleep with these lights on. If I want to sleep with light on, then I'm just gonna turn the fucking light on. Like, what kind of maniac wants this? I don't understand. Put tape over it? Yeah, of course, but it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Anyways, sorry for derailing it. Even anti-mosquito machines have lights? Yeah, I don't understand. These people completely lost their mind. But yeah, a lot of people have asked me for Bitcoin Cash, so we can talk about that. I've been talking about Bitcoin Cash for weeks on this show now. Like it was going down, and we talked about this down here, and I was like, this is the only crypto chart that actually looks good. And then it actually followed through, had a nice week, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna actually listen to myself on an altcoin for once, even though I don't like everything else, because I'm willing to take a little bit of risk. So I was like, okay, the Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin chart, and this is something we literally talked about for quite a while. Actually looks quite nice, looks constructive for once. I like these kind of like rounding out, like monthly, like when you have an impulse and then instead of doing this, that's bad, obviously, you do this. And then you go down like this and you get shallower and shallower. This I like, this I don't like, right? So people have been telling me, oh, this is the exact same as this. And obviously it could play out the same way, but you can see the structure here is built completely different, right? This one is rounding out and going down, and this one is like an impulse and then starting to round at the bottom, which I like better, but yeah, still obviously an altcoin in a shitty market, so I'm not recommending anyone to buy this thing, but I did because I was like, fuck it, just gonna not buy too much and then go from there. And so far, so good. Basically, the play is like continued Bitcoin, continued strength against Bitcoin, and then on the USD pair, it's pretty straightforward. You have to put in a higher low, right? If this fails, like you have put in your structure here, you have to put in a higher low here. So if this goes back below 200 or 180-ish, 180 being the better invalidation, I think it's cooked. And then you have a target of like whatever up here, which is another 2x basically. It's pretty straightforward. Probably not going to play out if Bitcoin completely crumbles, but I was just like, okay, I'm just going to take a bet. So all day is I was a little bit bored, and it's the best looking chart, and I got a setup that I liked. So I bought 200, like whatever, 210, and then on my on my Woo account that I've been trying to push further up the leaderboard. I bought 214, I think, as in somewhere in here. And today has been a good day, but that doesn't have to mean anything. And then if you go on the lower time frames, that looks like a breakout in the making. And like I said, if you get, like you have your structure here, it kind of looks like an ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Like the pattern stuff is completely whatever anyway. The only thing that you really have to keep in mind, or that is important for the trade, is that you put in a low, you retested it, and now you're putting in a higher low with the same highs, which is not the worst. Yes, but it pumped now, so everyone wants to talk about it. Yeah, that's how it goes, right? Like I talked about it for ages, and no one gives a fuck. And then people are like, oh shit, like it went up 10% in a day. It's not even up 10% anymore because Bitcoin crashed. Like at some point, Bitcoin Cash was up 10% today, but now it's just 5. Besides Bitcoin Cash, look at Link. Yeah, we talked about Link too. Like we talked about this on the show, right? If you remember, I was like, this is shitty. And I'm not talking about last week because we talked about it down here. I was like, this is one of the better looking altcoin charts while everything was taking a dumpster, right? When we were down here. But I didn't buy it because, like I said, I was not too excited on Bitcoin. Now, Link against Bitcoin is actually pulling exactly from support, which is quite nice. That doesn't look too bad, honestly. Like it's a very bearish trend, but it's broken the high here, which is nice. Can make it like a very, very ugly inverse head and shoulders out of this. But the more interesting one is the Link USD pair. That I actually don't mind too much. It is still bearish, but if you want to look for good looking charts, it's one of them just based on the fact that it had a false breakdown and it retested the low and it actually didn't break it. So it's not the worst. The Link BTC pair doesn't look too bad. So there's something to be said for Link. My problem with the altcoins, my problem with my Bitcoin Cash position is that, like, I look at Bitcoin right now and I'm like, if this breaks down, right? Like, if this just goes down, I'm going to get fucked and everyone else in the altcoins is going to get fucked. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't, like, buy too much. With Bitcoin Cash, like, I'm not going to go out of this with a loss. Like, I bought it yesterday. I'll probably close it if it starts coming back to where I bought it, or at least close enough so that I'm just like, whatever. So don't be stupid, obviously. I mean, listening to a duck on the internet is already quite stupid, but don't be more stupid than that. Go from there. But yeah, it's basically like I was bored and there was a tight invalidation. While we're trading at 214, I was like, if it goes back down here, that's probably cooked like below 200. Which is pretty tight, especially given this impulse that we had. If you expect something similar on the second leg, you have a pretty nice trade on your hand. You bought the bottom of that wick, didn't you? Which wick? You talking about this? Or... No, I didn't buy the bottom. I bought 200 something. So DonAlt, yes. I mean, in general, you shouldn't be buying altcoins, yes. But I trade them. I like to trade them from time to time. But nowadays, less than I usually do. Like I used to trade a lot of altcoins. I trade less altcoins now. But yeah, I don't hate Link. It's still bearish, but I don't hate it. So if I had to take a trade, Bitcoin Cash, obviously the first one, because that's where I took one. Link isn't too bad, and Maker has been pretty good as well. And still, we talked about this last week, right? Maker Bitcoin, absolutely flying, and
Maker USD. We talked about this last week as well. We're trading somewhere in like 1,200 area. And I was like, you can put a trade on with like a stop loss at 1,000 and a target of 2,000 something. That's moving in the right direction there, right? But obviously, now that it's breaking out, if this comes back down, that's the new invalidation, which is quite nice, right? So basically, if anyone took that trade, I didn't. But if anyone took that trade that we were talking about last week, the new invalidation is basically your entry. So any close below your entry and you get out, which limits the risk that you take on by quite a bit, because otherwise a close below 1,000 would have done that. Now this is quite a bit better. Not buying the bottom, Doug is off his game. I mean, I bought the Bitcoin bottom, right? It's the only thing I care about. And then with the altcoins, I don't have to buy the bottom. There's very, very small chance that I'm going to buy an altcoin bottom. Like besides ETH, and that's been a while too. I just don't buy altcoin bottoms. Because the thing is, like, Bitcoin dumps, I know that it's not going to go to zero, right? And altcoin dumps, I don't. So with altcoins, I like to buy into... when like you look at Bitcoin Cash, for example, right? And I mean, I could be massively off on this one. Don't really care. Doesn't really matter. But like you look at this chart, right? And I mean, at this point, it looks kind of shit, but then you can see this setting up and you can feel the pressure in the system rising, right? Like at this point, when it pulls back here, like you can just see that it's been pushing here. The only reason why this rejection happened is because it rejected here. And you can tell that there's going to be like, that there's pressure in the system, as in this is going to go quite a bit the moment it goes. So that's where I try to get in. I don't try to get in here. That's a fool's game, I think, because then you try to buy here and you try to buy here. Maybe you got rewarded, but then you try to buy here, you try to buy here, you try to buy the lows. And that's not going to do you any good, right? Because these downtrends are so aggressive that like buying into them is not my way of trading. Now, there's some people that are really good at it. I'm not, right? So that's why like I tend to try to buy when this stuff kind of starts building some pressure. See if I can play that direction as well, and then sometimes I fail, sometimes I don't, and I kind of don't play the size that I would on Bitcoin. So, like for me, the bottom isn't that interesting on altcoins. The only one that I really care about is ETH on the altcoins, and even there, it's like whatever. As long as I get the Bitcoin bottom, I don't care. Because that's easy to hold. Like if I buy an altcoin, when it's like, for example, if I bought, that looks horrendous. If I bought Bitcoin Cash here, right? I would have been happy here, and then it comes back to my entry. Even though like I'm not making any losses, there's a good chance I would have sold this. Just because, I mean, this is like, just because I don't want to hold the altcoin itself, right? I'm like, I don't like this coin. So if it shows me anything that isn't to my liking, I'm going to get out. And that's going to be me selling the bottom often. Whereas if the structure looks like here to the left, and some people will remember me trading these, because I like to trade Bitcoin Cash. Actually, it's one of my favorite coins to trade. You can tell again that there is pressure building here, and then you can get in. It's more interesting that way. And it's not as much of a waste of time. And sometimes it fails. Like, for example, if you're talking about the same kind of setup here where it starts grinding into resistance, it fails, but then you're at least not holding for weeks and weeks like here. Like imagine holding Bitcoin Cash from January all the way to June, and it's all the way back to your entry. Like, fuck that. I'm not made for that.
Don, really appreciate all your insights you shared in the past 2 years. I follow you in Cred. Thanks for listening. Appreciate that. Are you bullish for 2024? There have been 2 rough years. I don't look that far in the future, to be quite honest. Like I don't know. Like with the macro situation as it is, I find it pretty foolish to make these kind of grand predictions. I'll take it week by week. Because I see people that trade the 4 hour that make these big kind of like calls. Oh yeah, 2025 is gonna be the year, and then I'm just like, dude, you're trading the 4 hour chart. Like it's not like that's too far in the future. And I'm a guy that loves to trade the monthly, and I'm still saying like that's too far. Like for example, like let's say we get rejected here and we grind down here and just go sideways. This is like halfway through 2024, and there's at that point like this seems realistic-ish, and at that point we still haven't had any movement, and then maybe you start going up. But then is this a bullish 2024 if it goes from 20k all the way up to where it was right now? I wouldn't say so. Maybe it does something like this. Who knows? But this is just meaningless, in my opinion. Meaningless exercise. Back in 2017, were you trading like you do now, or were you more intraday? Thanks, Don. I mean, during bull days, you just trade intraday. It doesn't really matter. Like you see an opportunity, you take it, and that's it. Like it's very, very straightforward during bull days, and the more bullish it is, the more low time frame you go, because then you can this kind of like pressure building that we talked about, right? And I mean, this very stupid kind of way to talk about it, but like in general, like sometimes you can feel the momentum come in. Like you can see that on the low time frames when the market is extremely bullish, and then you can take on quite a bit of risk on like a tiny setup, and it plays out in your favor, and you can do that 10-15 times, and it's more money than you've made in your entire career, right? So when it's really bullish, you go low time frame. But for like your investment and everything, and these like bullish times are very, very rare, where like there's good setups everywhere. The investment stuff is where you look and zoom out and wait. But sometimes it's good to trade, and there's an opportunity every 3 or 4 years where you have like 3 or 4 months of price action that is really good. Do you hit the gym like Cred? Do you disrupt as fuck? Yeah, Cred's it's a monster. He's a beast. And no, I don't anymore. I started climbing again, and I need to run because a friend of mine signed me up to a marathon for next year, and I'm completely out of shape. Like I'm never fat. I've never been fat in my life. I guess I'm too tall for it. Like I've always eaten like shit, but not really eaten like shit, but eaten a lot. But I have a lot of size to kind of distribute that. So I'm never fat, but completely out of shape. Haven't been doing too much sports, which is sad. But now I'm gonna have to get back into it. Also carrying around the baby that's 7 kilos all day, every day, actually is quite a good workout. What's your height? You like 190 centimeters? That's a big Doug? Yeah, that's roughly it. That is roughly it. Not too tall, but I mean, for me, I think it's the perfect height. But I think everyone should think that about their own height. But I think 190 is perfect, which is like 6.2, I think. Anyway, football, soccer, I used to play it, but I haven't in 15 years. So, been a while. Used to play it every day, though. But yeah, that's that. Do we have anything else? Aave, we talked about last week. Someone asked if it was a good time to get in. I was like, it's not the worst, but also if this weekly turns around, starts to look horrendous, right? And we're kind of getting that. So you want to see a little bit more of that, as in like a little bit more strength rather than this fizzling out. Pepe making a comeback? Nah. There's going to be bounces along the way. I think Pepe is going to zero. I think Pepe is a shitty meme. The Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Inu people, as mentally deranged as they are, like if I had to choose between Pepe and that, I would probably go that. For me, basically, the most retarded shit. Like if you're buying a meme coin, might as well buy the most retarded shit. And I think basically you have Pepe now. So Pepe, whatever PE works. You have Doge of old, right? I mean, Shiba, like anyone that has Shiba is literally brain dead in my eyes. So we'll ignore that one. Doge, Pepe, I will do this. And then the most retarded one, right? And this is like in kind of like retard direction is the Obama thing. Which, I mean, I'm just going to write Obama. I know they want me to write Bitcoin, but whatever. So that's the Obama thing, right? So you have from least stupid to most stupid, and they're all incredibly stupid. But like I would buy this over this and this over this. But I'm not buying any of them. What is your max and climbing scale? I don't know. I don't check. I just climbed I used to climb the hardest routes in the gym. I very much don't do that anymore. But then again, it depends on the gym, right? Some gyms are easier, some are harder, but I usually climbed on the upper end of whatever was in a bouldering gym. And I never checked the grades because I don't really care. Have you ever been to the States? Yeah, a couple times. I've been to like the major cities basically, and I gotta say I don't like it too much. I think the nature, and I haven't seen too much, but from what I from pictures and in general, like the nature is fucking amazing in the States. The cities I don't find too interesting, to be quite honest. Completely swamped by cars, and I mean I was just saddened by the fact that to go from one casino to the next in Las Vegas, I had to take a fucking Uber. Even though, and this is why like Vegas has one of the better underground systems where you can walk around between casinos and whatever. But still, like it's just, as someone that comes from Europe, it's very tiresome because you can only go around with the car, which I find quite sad. Much more fun when you have like a nice city center where you can actually walk to places. So that's something that I found a little bit sad on the America front. But the nature is kind of like, that's badass. Wish that was the case in Europe because you don't really get that. Any opinion on Lido? Not really, no. I mean, Eve's not doing so well, so you would expect Lido not to do too well either. But yeah, I'm generally not a city person. So even the cities in Europe, I'm just like, cool. I don't mind seeing them, but yeah, don't have to have it. Like at some point during my life, I was like, I'm going to buy a massive piece of land somewhere in the middle of nowhere that has been like logged or whatever, where there's basically no nature left. And then I moved there and rebuild it and make something nice out of it. So that's kind of been like this kind of like amount of social stuff is my preferred way of being. So cities are not for me. You don't really get the nature in Europe, and the duck is from Germany where you got amazing Alps. Yeah, but like there's a difference. Like the Alps obviously, and I've been
in quite a few places there. And in Europe, you're 10 minutes away from a village. You're 5 minutes away from the next house, almost anywhere you go. And then like the biggest distance that you have between nature and the next village is like, I mean, let's be real, like the biggest you get is like half a day of walking at most. And then you look at places like Canada or the US or pretty much like a lot of other places in the world, and you can go for days and there's no people, there's no houses, there's no nothing. And that's quite cool. You don't get that here. Like if you're in Germany and you're not in the mountains, it's almost impossible not to see people. Cost of living very cheap in Germany, right? I don't know. Depends on where you live. Oh, it depends on where you live, dude. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But cost of living can be, especially rent, like when you're renting, can be very, very high. Like when you have to, and I mean, obviously compared to America, standards is a little bit different. But in America, you get paid more, right? Not that makes a big difference for me. Like I don't really get paid. I just make my money. But if you're working in Germany and you want to live in like the A-tier cities in a nice area, then it's going to cost you a large chunk of income. But I'm guessing it's the same in America and in the A-tier things. In Europe, you get lost and hit a village. In Canada, you die. Exactly. Anyway, I don't have a strong opinion on Lido. It's retraced 75% of the entire move. No, I'm not. This is a governance token at the end of the day. I don't give a shit about governance. So that's my main gripe with it. But yeah. That's that. Anything else? BNB might be interesting. That's barely holding on to support. Yeah, there's not that much to say. It's just grinding on support, and it's on live support basically. Our crypto market needs to go up, otherwise this is kind of shit. I have a problem with my bank. What do you tell the bank when they ask you what is your job or source of income? You say like, I'm a duck on the internet and trade magic coins. Yeah, I had some problems with my bank and I had to send them. They were like, where are these funds coming from? And then I had to basically send them a bunch of trade logs, which I happily obliged and sent them like a shitload of pages, like absurd amounts of pages. And then they asked if I could make it easy on them, and I was like, no. And that kind of worked. I was like, if you're interested, this is how it goes. And then they shut up about it. But yeah, you kind of like, if you don't KYC, you have problems. Legacy back in the green? Yeah. Barely. Not really, but it's up. It's up, and Bitcoin is a little bit up. And Bitcoin Cash is up a lot. That's nice. Life is good. Life is good as a Bitcoin Cash enjoyer for now. Like I said, it's just a meme position. Thoughts on coin chart? I don't like it too much. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It's back in the range. Looks bad. Now, chart-wise. Oh yeah, by the way, this is not me predicting prices. What we talked about last week. Sometimes I look at these charts and I'm like, am I really that dumb? Like, am I predicting this bullshit? And then it's just me like mapping out possibilities, as in like, I was like, this is how it would have
had to act to look strong, I remember. Not as in this was from back then and I was making this price prediction. It was me saying it should have done this, but it didn't. So it's not that great. And we had a shitty week. Not the biggest fan, honestly. Now, I like the narrative and whatever, and I like the people that chill coin all the time, but I don't like this chart. I'd rather buy Bitcoin. Now, coin's been outperforming, but I still like, I don't like Coinbase. Like, that's the thing, right? I don't like Coinbase. Using Coinbase is shit. Almost everything else is better. I would love to have some more exposure to stock crypto, but this just doesn't exist. So for me, no. And I don't like this. If it comes back above 80, maybe. But right now, don't see the point. Conditions worse than previous bearers? No. I think this is still... It's shit, but it's still much better than it used to be. Then again, like I haven't had a losing trade in quite a while, so maybe that's just me being biased. But there's at least still... You can still take size. You can do things. Now, it's obviously not nice to trade, though. Hi, Don. Are we going to die? I'm not too bullish, but I'm also not too bearish. Like, I actually look at the weekly and I'm like, I'm not hating this. It's at resistance, but I'm not hating it. Also not liking it, but not hating it. Thoughts on Friend.tech? I like it. It's fun. I have a portfolio of about, I think, like I have, at this point I checked like earlier or yesterday, I have like 35 ETH in it right now. As in like, I own 35 ETH of people. And I don't plan to do anything with it. If anything, like any kind of fees that I get, because you get fees as someone that gets bought, whatever, I just buy other people. And then if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. That said, I mean, don't take that as like, oh, you should be buying it. It's just me having fun. I like to try these things. Shield some keys? Nah. I just buy whoever, and then I don't even check on it. It's just fun to collect. Do you hold my boy Main? Yeah, I do. I have 2 keys of his even. Hi Don, I'm late. It's okay, you can watch a replay. You're gonna survive, brother. Any viewpoint change on Rollbit or even stronger conviction on original thoughts? Same conviction as at the start. It's interesting how Gainsey left, right? Because it's been like, it's a much better kind of fit as than Stake is with him. So you kind of would wonder why he would do that, especially given how much they paid him. Just wondering, right? Why would he do that? Bro, Gainsey is the same scammer like Trader SZ. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put them on the same level because Trader SZ is pretending to be like this godlike trader, and Gainsey is just kind of like not doing that. But I mean, I'm a fan of the Rollbit or Stake partnerships. Not really, obviously. Why did Gainsey leave? I missed the last part of the arc. He will not talk about it. You can ask him, but he will not talk about it. Now, there's a lot of ways to speculate about this thing, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're not going to get an answer. And he went from betting hundreds of thousands to betting 1,000, 2,000. I mean, why would he do that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. I also had like someone offered to look into the whole whether they did improve the streamer odds or not, and he started looking into it, and then videos started disappearing from channels. So probably just random, but odd. Anyway, I don't really care. At the end of the day, I don't really care. I wonder about it. If I'm right, not cool, because I would hate to see people lose. And if I'm wrong, I mean, it is what it is. I'm too lazy to get into that whole drama. And at the end of the day, I don't know. I just raised some flags where I was like, okay, this is weird. And I think there's more flags now than there used to be, but don't really care too much. Don, are you paying attention to Litecoin pumps in order to predict Bitcoin dumps? No, not really. Gainsey broke? Nah, he has money. I mean, I'm thinking. I don't know. We don't really talk. So, I don't know. Anything that you see on Twitter is what I see on Twitter. But yeah, that's that. Chart-wise, nothing really too interesting. Bitcoin Cash been moving good. Link, like I said, Maker not too bad. Those are the only ones that I can see that are decent altcoin-wise. Bitcoin needs to do a lot more. If it comes back above 28K, I think at that point that's a pretty brain-dead kind of play. But I do like this kind of structure. So if that continues and we round out and come back towards 26.7, you might actually see me buy resistance again. But for now, no such thing. We need a little bit help on the S&P part. Can we expect DonAlt microcap shill villain arc during bull? No, I didn't do it during 2017. Didn't do it during the whole DeFi thing, and I will not do it. If anything, I'll spend my own money and try as hard as I can to keep that from everyone, because I'd rather not influence prices. Always been not interested in that. I would like to, I want to have success in my trading journey that is based on my own skills and not because I can chill people into some garbage. And so far that's been working quite well, but yeah, I don't want that to change. I would feel like a failure if I did that. So I'm not going to. But you have a child to feed now? Yeah, but she's going to be fine. I don't need it. What I like about Doug is that he shills Bitcoin bottoms and tells us to sell tops of Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I tried to. It's been working quite well lately, but it's not always right. And it's something that I want to make sure people understand, right? Like, I'm not always going to be right. Just because I've been right in the last 12 months, majority right. I mean, I had a nice buys here. Actually, I had nice buys here too. I was bearish on the way down. So like this part was pretty nice. A lot of people played this part much better than me. I was in disbelief that we were actually gonna break out until like 14K. So like I bought down here and then sold into the breakout. I was like, oh, it's going to be a false breakout, which is foolish. And then it took me quite a while to get back on board. So there's a lot of other people that played this much better. I played this one quite nicely. I played this downturn quite nicely. But yeah, this part, not so good. And could have made a lot more money in altcoin. So my altcoin advice, it's not advice, but my altcoin opinions don't have to always be right. My Bitcoin opinions have been quite good, but they also don't have to be right. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Think about it yourself. It's a little bit foolish if you make your trading dependent on me, because I could be disappearing at any moment, and then you're gonna sit there and you build the trading system based on whatever the fuck I think, which I think is foolish, right? So just make up your own things. But yeah, that's that. I think that's more than enough. Really appreciate you guys coming by. It's been a nice hour or so, as always. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Check out the links in the description if you want to. If not, also cool. And if I didn't go over your altcoin, I'm sorry, but there's too many. There's infinite amounts of altcoins. So just look at them yourself and you'll figure it out. I'm sure of it. Don't need my opinion on it. And love you guys. Have a nice evening, nice rest of the week, and we'll hear from each other very soon. Bye bye.